moon is up, and it is now time for a sweet dream story. Today, I'll tell you the story of the elves and the shoemaker. Once upon a time, there was a shoemaker who was very hardworking and kind. He worked day and night, but he was still very poor. One day, he had nothing left but enough leather for one pair of shoes. So in the evening, he cut the leather into the shape of the shoes, and he left his work on the table to finish in the morning. He lay down quietly in his bed, and before he fell asleep, he asked God to help him. In the morning, just as he was about to sit down to work, he saw the two shoes standing quite finished on his table. He was so surprised and had no idea who helped him. He took the shoes in his hands to look at them more closely. They were so beautiful and shiny. Soon after, a customer came into the shop, and he liked the shoes so much that he paid more than the usual price. Now the shoemaker had enough money to buy leather for 2 pairs of shoes. That night he cut out the leather, and the next morning he was about to set to work with fresh hope for the future. But once again he found that the shoes were already made. So many people wanted to buy the shoes, and they paid the shoemakers more money than he usually received. Soon the shoemakers had enough money to buy leather for 4 pairs of shoes. The following morning, he found the 4 pairs of shoes on the table. And so it went on. Any leather that he cut out in the evening was finished by the morning. Soon, he was no longer poor, and he even became quite rich. Now, one evening, the man finished cutting out the leather as usual. This time, he said to his wife, "Let's stay up tonight to see who has been helping us." The woman liked the idea and lighted a candle. Then they hid themselves in a corner of the room and watched. When it was midnight, 2 little elves came into the room, both without any clothes on, and sat down by the shoemaker's table. They took all the work which was cut out before them and began to stitch, sew, and hammer so skillfully and so quickly with their little fingers. They did not stop until all was done and stood finished on the table. And then they ran quickly away. The next morning, the woman said, "The little men have made us rich, and we really must show that we are grateful for it. They don't have any clothes on. They must be so cold in this weather. I will make them little shirts, coats, and trousers, and knit them 2 pairs of stockings. You can help too. You can make them 2 little pairs of shoes." The man agreed. One night, when everything was ready, they laid their presents all together on the table instead of the leather. Then they hid themselves to see what the little man would do. At midnight, the elves came into the room and was about to work as usual. But they didn't see any leather. Instead, they saw beautiful little shirts, coats, trousers, 2 pairs of socks, and 2 tiny pairs of shoes. They put the pretty clothes on, and then they sang and danced happily. At last, they danced out of the doors. From that time on, they never came again. But as long as the shoemaker lived, all went well with him. He and his wife always helped other people, and they lived very happily together.